We're back, number 24. Man, I just got back from the movie theaters. We saw The Lost Boys on the big screen. And I almost didn't go. I'm like, I've seen it 500 times. But my God, I'm glad I went. It was, I don't want to say it was like seeing it for the first time. It was, but man, you see so many little things that you just don't notice watching it on a TV. I've got an amazing TV, but I'm telling you, I've seen things, I saw stuff in this movie that I really never noticed. And if it's coming to your town during October, go see it. It was, God, it was so good seeing that at the theater again. You know, I saw it years ago, but you know, you don't remember that experience too much when you've had a crazy life like I have. I don't remember anything. Tonight, this is the 24th day out of the 31 days of Halloween masks on the channel. We're gonna kind of just, I want to show you some great Don Post masks tonight. Go figure. We're gonna bounce around the 80s a little bit. I don't know. I come down here, I'm like, oh, this will be easy, and it's never easy. It's never easy. But tonight I'm gonna show you some beautiful, pristine copies of masks that are kind of rare from the 80s, and maybe we'll dip in the 70s for a minute, but I don't know yet. We're doing this as I go along. So let's start with two of my favorite Don Post masks. The Neanderthal, whatever, and Schizoid. So look at those. These here are beautiful, beautiful unworn copies of the Neanderthal and the Schizoid. Look at that crazy dude. So this has always been one of my favorite masks, the Schizoid. I've had other copies in the past, but this is probably the greatest copy I've ever seen. An unworn store stock copy popped up in auction at the same time this one did. I believe they came from the same source. There was a point in time years ago where all of these great Don Post masks came up for auction. Guys were going nuts because they were all just unworn store stock, and they're all tagged and, you know, beautiful. I was selling copies of my masks to get the nicest copies I've ever seen that popped up. So these are two of them. One's got the 82 care tag that we've talked about a few times already, and this one's got the 83 care tag, the blue and white one. I'll show you. That's what that one looks like. And that opens up and there's information in there from Don Post about your new rubber Halloween mask. So anyway, these beauties, I'll start off with the Neanderthal. They were in production between like 1982 and 1984 through Don Post Studios. There's not many cave masks in the Don Post catalog. You know, from start to finish, there's only a couple I could think of. They actually did some uncatalogued Quest for Fire masks. They may have appeared in some kind of catalog page, but they were really never in the main catalogs. They did Quest for Fire cavemen masks, which are pretty rare, and but this Neanderthal is a favorite of many people. Get out of there! And it actually makes an appearance in Halloween 3 in the background of the office scene. I believe Schizoid is also in Halloween 3. Am I right? I gotta think about this. I know all this. I did a video on it, but anyway, we're gonna go to 1981 to one of my favorite masks, Rizzoli. This is Rizzoli, okay? This crazy gargoyle with the big happy grin. This mask was actually sculpted by an artist known as the Great Rizzoli, who in the 70s was sculpting all of these really neat gargoyles and things out of his home, and he did lots of amazing, really crazy 70s fantasy type art, sculptures, and I think he may have did some paintings. His inspiration for the character, I think, came from an old painting. There was an image of a demon that looked similar to this, and the great Rizzoli went on to sculpt all kinds of statues and whatnot that look similar to this. But Don Post went to the great Rizzoli's house and had him sculpt this mask for Don Post Studios. And during like the first year, like 1981, I believe it debuted, it was only offered in a flesh color like this flesh tone version between 81 and 82. And after 1 year of that, they stopped making the flesh colored versions and switched to red. So this is a rare version of Rizzoli, this flesh toned dude. Now here is the red version, which actually was they were both rare, you know. They were both, for a long time, you didn't see many Rizzolis ever surface. These are both incredible copies. I had them both foam filled years ago. And actually, oh wait, this one's not foam filled. This one's not foam filled. The red one is. And they're just a great looking, crazy character mask. I love the green and yellow eyes on the red copy. Definitely a very unique mask for Don Post, because again, one artist, a different artist, not a Don Post employee, sculpted one mask for the company, and this was his sculpture. Just like Joe Mo did that Schizoid, this was done by the great Rizzoli. And I had a custom one made years ago. I'm going to show you. I'm going to pull it out. I got a copy out of the master mold for the Rizzoli, and I had a great idea. I sent it to Rob Tharp, and you might guess what I had him do to it. I had Rob make me a glow-in-the-dark Rizzoli, and left the neck untrimmed on the master copy, just because it makes for a really cool base with this mask, and makes it look even bigger than the production masks where they were cut. This was the very first glow-in-the-dark Rizzoli. I came up with the idea back when I was, you know, Billy and I were coming up with all these crazy glow masks for Rob to do for us, and I think a couple more of these were made after the fact. When people saw this one, they had a couple glow versions made, and I saw one selling for like $700 not too long ago. But just a crazy, awesome, you know, awesome paint job by Rob, making it look like that 1978-79 glow version of the other masks, the production masks for that year. So this was never made. They never made a glow Rizzoli, but now I've got one. So that's a pretty neat sight. 3 Rizzolis. They only produced the 2 of them, but I love that glow-in-the-dark one. It worked so well as a glow mask, and just one of my favorite old Don Post masks. More on the weirder side, you know. What else can I show you? Let's look around here. All right, I'm going to show you 2 modern castings that are just 2 of my favorite masks in this whole room. For a while, some Mummy B blanks were available. The Tharps can really do mummies well. I originally had them do this gray version for me, and then I think I picked this one up from another collector that was selling it. But you know, now that you cannot get this stuff anymore, these are even more special to me. And let's look at the detail on these, and I'll turn the masks around so you can see the hair. So these have great size. They have the longer neck on them, and they're the Mummy B. They're like a 70s Mummy B casting. And I think it could have been, I think the mold could have been from the reissue line Mummy B. That makes more sense to me, that mold is out there and someone has it. But man, killer work by the Tharps. And what I love about the one on the left is it has green in the cracks. Just that use of color. I'm guessing Rob did this. And there's Fuller's Earth, which is like almost like a fake dirt material, and it's over the mummy. It just makes it even crustier, you know. And in the hair, they take latex rubber and put it in the hair and make it like old mummy hair. But man, I love that this has a green base to it. Just killer. I'm showing you these because I love them so much, and I'm going to end up showing you a rare mummy casting that I have in the collection. But first I'm going to go grab that glow-in-the-dark mummy because it's the same mold, and I'm going to put all three of them together here so we can look at them. So there's three awesome mummies by the Tharps. Definitely one of my favorite Universal monsters of all time, and especially mask. Mummy masks are incredible. So I'm going to bring this. So next I'm going to show you a rare casting of a mummy that is pretty neat, you know. I think some of you will dig it. So let me get him out and put him in front of these. So this one, and first of all, I got to apologize for that little hum you hear in the background. It's because the heat is on, the heat blower, the furnace is blowing heat into the home. I can go all the way to the furnace and shut the switch off, but tomorrow I'll do that. So just pretend you don't hear it. I'm going to try to quiet it through means of technology. I'm going to try to quiet that up when I edit this footage. So check this one out. This mummy looks similar. However, it's a little different in ways. This is cast directly from the Don Post master. Late 60s, early 70s, long neck mummy bee. This is what I've dubbed as a backdoor mummy. The backdoor mummy, meaning it was cast by a Don Post Studios employee for a certain person that was friends with said employee, cast inside the studio back in probably around 1989. Then they took said mummy, probably threw it in a duffel bag, and handed it to a friend in a parking lot. So this is an actual, you know, real deal master copy from the studio, which is definitely rare. I see little differences in the other three compared to this one. Even though they're long neck copies and all that, I'm thinking maybe those were from the reissue mold, like I was saying, that 1998 line of mummies, which probably originated from the factory Don Post mold. I don't know the story. I don't know any of that. So maybe it was the exact same mold. I have no clue. But I could see little tiny differences here and there. So, you know, who the hell knows? All I know is these were made in recent years outside of the factory when the Don Post was long gone. However, this is a real deal master copy made inside the studio. So it is quite special. And when I got it, it had newspaper stuffed in it from like 1991, an LA newspaper. So I had it foam filled, and it sits here today in my mummy collection. Man, those mummies are amazing. I don't think I'll ever get rid of any of them. They're so special. I've loved them this whole time. Now that I know I can't get them ever again like that, I'll never let those go. They'll stay here forever. So I may close out the video showing one last mummy that's kind of an important one. Speaking of the 98 reissues and factory castings, blah, 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 I should show you the last mummy head that's actually sitting on top of a life-size mummy body, and not this dude. So let me go pull his head off. First I'm going to show you photos of this mummy statue, and I'll explain a little bit more about what that is, and then tell you about the mask that sits on top of it. This here mummy, this Mummy A, is from the 1998 reissues, okay? However, this isn't a production mask. This is one of 2 paint masters that I know of. So this wasn't one that was sold to the public. This was a casting that was made special, where they did a couple different variations to determine what the paint jobs were going to look like on the reissues, and this is one of those prototypes. Paintmaster / prototype of the Mummy A. Nice long neck copy. I'm sure Rob and Kathy probably were the ones that painted these Paintmasters at the time at the studio, but that's the real deal prototype. And I bought this thing and I'm like, you know what, I want to do something special with it, because it's a special mask. It's not just a reissue. It's much bigger than the reissue castings as well. It's a nice, beautiful, probably master copy by the looks of the details. I mean, it's insanely detailed, nice and big. So I said, I gotta do something special with this thing, and that's why I had a life-size mummy body made for it. So my life-size mummy is actually a recreation of a famous mummy in the Don Post world that Vern Langdon made in, I think, around 1964, when there was a music shop, Welch's Music City, I believe it was called. There was a calendar mask on top of a smaller mummy, life-size, well, not life-size, but a smaller mummy body, to promote the Evening with Boris Karloff and Friends record album. And the mummy I had made by Kelly Mann is a recreation of that famous storefront mummy by Vern Langdon. So I wanted something really special to stick this thing on, and I said, what better than to recreate that cool storefront mummy that a lot of the guys in the hobby know of, that was in that window, that store window in the 60s, and had a real calendar mask on top of it. It came out great. Kelly did a great job making that mummy for me, and that's the story behind my life-size mummy. It's a recreation of that old storefront mummy that a lot of us know about. A lot of people watching this video probably have no clue, but I mean, it's pretty neat, so that's why I did it. So that was number 24. We're getting closer to Halloween day by day, and hopefully you liked seeing these mummies and a couple of other 80s gems I've got in the collection. Don't know what we're doing tomorrow, but I'm sure it'll be pretty neat. And the last 2 days are going to be my favorites. I keep saying that. So I will see you tomorrow for number 25. Later.